I was live, then I lost my stream, and I don't even know if it's saved because I couldn't find it. But anyways, I talked a lot, and so it's just so important that you ensure that your children are being successful in life, and we that's not something that we've done because actually there is no process in which we can follow to ensure that to sure, we're talking about sustainability and what sustainability actually means. To what is sustainability? Hey, good morning, Sherry. Happy birthday, Sherry. But know that the public school system has not been sustainable, and our children are not thriving. And failure to thrive means that your child is not being successful, and that's just real. And so, every child has to have a maintenance of effort. That's how come they have grade levels. People don't even understand what happens in the public school system, and that's just for real. I mean, you know that you have to put your child in school. You know that. And everybody, black people follow rules, and that's one thing they do follow. They follow the rules. And so your child is in school, but when your child's getting sent home every day, it makes a difference, because especially if you're working. And then ask black people, do they have the time to volunteer for public policy? And many of them say no. That's why I said that, it's our fault that we didn't understand that volunteering and participating in the process ensures our sustainability. It's not like we don't have educated people. It's not like we can't tackle this concern about the failure of public schools for all black children. But it is time to have a public conversation. And so I don't see it happening. I am concerned with people talking about the virus. The virus is going to be there. Life has changed for you and I. The world has changed. Understand, when the world changes, there's really going to be some change. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe that, the president is going to open up the country. Not on a God effect. This is a God effect. This effect has to do with the least of us not being taken care of. And so, a country has to take care of their citizens. It's the whole intent behind we the people. We the people believe this, whatever it says. I'm not gonna try and memorize that shit. No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you that, I was forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America for my whole entire school life. And I believe that shit. I guess that's hype. But guess what? We are free people. And freedom means that you're free to fuck up and you're free to fail. You're free to buy that car if you knew, and you knew you couldn't afford it. And you knew that you were not going to be able to make the payments. Free to do it. And free to fuck up your credit. It's just like a game. America, this has become a game. And now people are trying to figure out how they get your stimulus money. Well, hell, people are going to spend that stimulus money. Just like what happened after Katrina. They gave people those EBT cards and they could trace the spending. And black people were buying things that they never could afford before. And they said, oh, hell no. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the freedom of choice. And they can't still. That's how come, if you get an extra $5, an extra $50 and you're on welfare, come on now. But then we have Donald Trump who ran for president and chose not to expose his taxes. What the fuck are we supposed to think? What I don't understand as a people, why we have become so acceptant of the failure of African American children in the public school system. And it takes you a long time to get caught up. It takes you a long time to transition to a task. Other countries don't operate like this. But our children have become the harvest of 2020. Because if you look at this morbid situation that we're in, understand that if you don't get the tool, which is the technology, and you don't know how to access it, and people keep on giving you a ditto, you ain't getting shit. Because that was the problem in the public school system in the first place, where children have behaviors that are so out of control, then all of a sudden they're only getting a behavior modification. That's all it is. I've worked with children who have had over $200 or $300 pages of willful defiance act. And believe me, the harvest comes from where the investment is. So if you're investing in willful defiance issues and and your children being redirected all day long, don't think that they're learning. They're being disruptive. People can't be in a classroom with 38 kids and having, the majority of your African American children who are playing and on their phones and not paying attention because they can't do the work. I'll tell you why they can't do the work. It's because we didn't look at the data. We're not holding people accountable for the data. They're not at grade level. If you're not at grade level, you can't do work completion. And education is about work completion. You have to learn the task so you can move forward. And that's just basic. But when you get an F, and you're allowed to get an F and still get promoted, somebody needs to help me with that shit. Because we're paying people to ensure that that doesn't happen, but it's happening. And it's happening because Black people don't participate in the oversight process. I won't say, I can't, Dale McKinney always tells me, don't make the blanket statement because we're doing it. There are people out there that are doing it. Yes, that's why I did it. But when I was out there doing it, wasn't too many of me out there. Not too many people who look like me. Even when I served as a VISTA through the Corporation of National and Community Service, there wasn't too many people who understand the value in that. There's a value. I needed to have additional money to get my kids through high school because I had 2 boys in high school at one time. Welfare wasn't going to do it because I wasn't getting welfare. I was getting my disability and my Social Security at that time, I believe. And it just wasn't enough money, irregardless. But when you volunteer as a national volunteer, you get a little stipend. It doesn't count against your food stamps. You get a little stipend. It doesn't count against your cash aid. And so actually I was able to provide that additional support that my children needed to get through the process. And aren't we talking about process? We're moving through life, but if you don't understand the rules, you can't benefit. My son said, "Oh, there's so many resources in the welfare office, Mom. People all you have to do is just ask." Yes. All you have to do is ask, but guess what? You also have to be able to read. So if you go in there and you can't read, don't think anybody's going to, extend themselves to help you. This is an extension of myself, going online and sharing with you. I've been to so many community meetings, participated in so many community groups. Asking what Terry says, NAACP stands for N, always asking for permission. It's not about asking for permission. You don't need permission to fuck up. You don't need that permission. You just need to show up. And you can show up during these morbid times too, because they're streaming online. And that's why I videoed. It was a long stream, yes, but the conversation was real. And, one of the panelists said that they were not trying to get involved in anything that was going to tie them to a decision that would tie them to the law. And they were talking about the federal allocations, the federal dollars. And when you talk about federal allocations, understand, we all pay federal taxes. Federal taxes are real. And people do pay taxes. And when you're paying taxes, it's just real because it's going to sustain the local community. I mean, taxes, death and taxes are real. But when Black people pay taxes, I'm looking at the amount of money that would be coming from entertainers and the amount of money that would be coming from millionaires, because there are Black people out there that are entertainers. That's how come Trump felt so good to tell them sons of bitches that they, if they want to take a knee because they want to express concerns while they're out there entertaining white people, law enforcement is shooting children who they're related to. And they had a problem with it. And I have a problem with that too. I have a problem with help, I can't breathe. Why were all the motherfuckers on that man, on his back, and he couldn't breathe? Because you know what? Control and compliance is what America is about for Black people. It's about control and compliance. If they only would have followed the compliance, if they followed what they were told to do, then they wouldn't be hurt. Why? Somebody's standing behind you saying stop. And you're just afraid because you know that they have killed so many people who look like you. And if anybody spends time watching that cop series, they talk about it. It's like a joke to them. That's what I say. It's a game. And they say, oh, he's going to try and get back to his mama's house because, that's what these niggas do, basically. Okay, it's real. Black children, especially the males, going to get home to see their mother. They love their mothers. And if you're looking for a man, that's what you want. You want a man that loves his mama, can treat his mama good. I tell you, the time is now, because the wake-up call is now. The wake-up call says that you must definitely engage in a society in which you pay taxes, because that's a part of the personal responsibility for God, just to be here. You don't have to consider yourself. I mean, black people think it's so bad. I'll tell you why it's bad. It's bad because you don't show up. You have to show up. And so understanding what the harvest is our children, because black people don't show up. And that's apparent. And I'll tell you why I can say that. As far as public services, because there are far too many black children who are at a grade level and at an inappropriate age placement. So you have 12th graders who are reading at 5th and 6th grade level. And then they're getting a certificate of completion. They're not getting a high school diploma. But they're out after 12 years. What the hell can they do with that fucking certificate of completion? I don't know. It doesn't entitle you to anything. It just says you spent 12 years in the fucking education system, and now you can't get a job because you can't add and you can't subtract and you can't read. Okay, but somebody got paid to ensure that access happened for you. And it don't happen for so many black children because they start late, or they get confused and stop learning at an age that affects them their whole life. And if you ain't got skills behind you and someone who's taught you how to complete a task, you can't make no money. It's not like you have to have, it's so important, but you do have to have a skill. And hopefully the educational support is supposed to sustain you through this skill. We need to be advocating to ensure that our children have access to skill-based learning, basically. That they'll have something that they can do to turn into food and money. Because everybody is on their back, and they're there getting an F. And I asked for the data. I want to know how many children in Clark County who are in program improvement schools, and what their grade level are, and what's the maintenance of effort, what are they doing to ensure that they're tackling the kids. And see, that's what we could ask for. We could really now organize online and talk about the end data at the state level of where our children are. And if they're not making it, we need to address the issue. And we have enough powerful black people who pay that kind of money in taxes, who have a voice, who could share in the concern. Come on now. We don't have that. But you listen to some of the music, and Marvin Gaye was real. What's going on? And so was James Brown. All of our people have come through such a struggle to maintain life. Just maintain life. But you're blessed if you have skills. I know I'm blessed. I got me some skills. You see I'm online. You see I'm streaming. And, and I know how to shoot a video, and I know how to update it. But I'm not going to get out here and kill myself ever again. This is, like being on vacation. You really can't go anywhere. You really can't do anything. But, it's so important that we learn how to communicate across, it's like cross-contamination. We need to cross-contaminate every black person so that they know that now's the time that we need to stand up. Because we need to ensure that all children in the local school districts have access to basic technology. But we really want to know what is going to be the maintenance of effort that they're going to demonstrate that they're bringing education to our children. Because life has changed. And life has changed and put you in the driver's seat, parent. You need to make it your personal responsibility to ensure that your child is accessing the age appropriate curriculum, and that your child is doing grade level work. How is it that we have children in the 7th grade that have never done a book report in Sac City Unified School District? But it's so true. Who have not written a paragraph. By the time my son got in the 7th grade, he had not written a paragraph. But there was a teacher over there at Science and Engineering, Casey Go, and she had the unique skills of looking at his work and what he was doing, and she could bring it to him and show him what he needed to do to get to the next step. And that's called investment. You know what I'm saying? That's called transition to the next step, the next task, and that is what education is about. Learning to learn. And we all need to be lifetime learners. And that's why I said, well, since we don't have a means of communication, and they have been educating us by allowing us to have limited engagement with our people, then we need to create a pathway. And so many Black people are now streaming and communicating. I can't say they're all on task, no, because they ain't. But for people who bring and drop knowledge in your ear, you need to pay attention, and you need to go online, and there's so many resources for children, and so people who are my age can share with their grandchildren, and parents need to have a personal responsibility to understand where their children are. Ask for evidence of what's been happening, not the report card, because the report card had changed. The report card in Sac City Unified School District had transitioned to be, oh, there's a spot for a social and emotional learning and behavior. Come on now. It was all about behavior, not learning, not academics, because that's not what you were getting. You're not getting documentation that kids are moving forward. But there are assessment tools. And then there's the Khan Academy. I did a video about Khan Academy, actually. It's a resource. And everybody has to know that there are resources out there beyond your imagination. Don't be afraid of the internet. Don't be afraid of online. Be aware that there's an address in the sky for you. And I would say decorate your address in the sky with information that you can share with your tribe. How's that? Because there's all kind of educational links out there. And, television is not a learning tool. Maybe PBS has lots of learning resources, but people need to monitor, because kids can, even when they can't talk, can operate a controller and can operate YouTube. Even when they can't communicate effectively, even when they have no conversation or no dialogue, they can operate a PlayStation. They can, but they may not be able to communicate effectively. That's our responsibility to ensure that language development happens if it's an issue. And it's your personal responsibility, number one, to have an assessment or evaluation tool that you can monitor your child's education. And that's why I'm coming online. I'm coming online to ensure that our people are awakening across the nation, understanding the importance of their family engagement and their personal responsibility to ensure that their children are being educated, because that is the only option in America. You don't get to participate. Oh, let me take it back, because God has ways. So God gives people special gifts that they can share with other people to help uplift. It's about uplifting. That's what it's about. That's what life's about, uplifting. And so this is what I'm hoping to do, is to bring some, drop some knowledge, engage in conversation. And when I figure out how to do this really right, to have, to talk back and forth and communicate and answer questions. So if you have any concerns, truly, I have been around a long time. All of my children graduated high school. My children are not incarcerated, nor have they ever been incarcerated. And it is my prayer to the universe that they not be there in a circumstance where they can't control their own personal choices. Life's about choices. You have a moment to think about, will you do something that you can get caught? It's a moment. It's a thought. It's a thought process. But, now we have thoughts. Women who sleep with so many men that they can't trace where they've been. And it's amazing. Just watch some of these shows that come and talk about some of this dysfunctional stuff that's going on, and it didn't happen in your family. But it's happening. And there's no way to share enrichment. That's why, now, because you can learn stuff, educate yourself during this time of, what do you call it? I want to call it hibernation. That's what I'll call it. Learn about who you are. Learn about history. Learn about Black history. Type it in Google. Ask questions to Google. Google knows everything. Believe me. Google knows. And so, and Grammarly will help your children with their language and communication. And it's a program. But pretty soon, you don't need the correction because you start typing and writing as you're supposed to because it's catching your errors. Microsoft was great at the beginning, but now they want you to continue to give them money. Come on now, it's greed. It's just totally greed. All of the programs that used to come, you used to be able to own it and it'd be on your system. Now you have to rent it and it's in the sky. It's called pimping. And goddamn, I say somebody's got to do it. But it's time for people also to wake up. Understand that it's time to take back our gifts. And that's just real. So I'm going to leave you with that. Follow me on my, and share my videos as I post them. If they're beneficial to you, and I'll come back and talk more because I have a lifetime of information to share. And I haven't written a book yet, but I will. Probably be My Three Sons. And each one was so uniquely different and required a different support level. But it's important for us to support our tribes, support our families, keep our families together. Because our people are so torn up. Black people need reparations, but you know why they really need them? It's because they don't know who they're related to. It's because of what happened in history where they would take the children from the mothers and allow strangers to raise them. It's because, for a long time they couldn't break the slaves. So they did things to break people and mentally break them as a people. Our people are mentally broken and they're very selfish and some of them don't give at all. Some of them just think that you need to handle your business and get your shit together. How do you get your shit together when you can't read and somebody has promoted you from the 3rd grade to the 10th grade and you're still not reading? And who could have helped you with that? Okay. Yes, we do have Black people who are in public organizations who have created nonprofits that are supporting the children, but on the whole, the national conversations where we have to have it at a national level simply because the foundation for education needs to change. And the blessing is you have the God gift of hibernation and understanding what you're willing to bring into your home and ensure that it's beneficial to you. And I'm going to encourage people to look on the internet, and if you're online and you're working with your child's school to ensure that it's making a difference and that your child is learning something and understanding you need to question what the maintenance of effort is going to be to ensure that accountability is happening and that all children are now going to have basic level access. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to go home. I'm at my brother's house, chilling in the front of his house because he was at the grocery store and I walked over here. But I'm getting ready to walk home and I'll probably get back online in a little while, have more conversation. But this time I am going to sign off and I'm going to save.